Tom. This is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy. Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. I am Joe.
I am Caleb.
And today we're going to be doing a spotlight, a experimental spotlight on Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and Heavensward composer and sound editor and designer, Masayoshi Soken.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so before we get to that, do got to remind you all to go to Facebook.com/Ultimate Final Fantasy.
Follow me at UFF Podcast on Twitter. That's where I'll be talking Final Fantasy and trashing whoever I feel like.
Follow me at Joseph DeGolier. You can go to YouTube.com/Ultimate Final Fantasy, Twitch.tv/Ultimate Final Fantasy.
We are live streaming this right now.
You can go to Patreon and support us there. Much appreciated. Many thanks to our Patreon donors out there. I'm having trouble speaking today. What else, Schweiss? What else we got? It's UltimaFinalFantasy.com.
Yeah, that's where you can find our forums, join the conversation, join the fun.
So
ask us a question. That's always good content. So
where are you in Crisis Core?
I am balls deep in Crisis Core. I got like 20 hours in it right now. So
nice.
I got
like 5.
Yeah, that's about normal. But I got to Gungaga. That's where I'm at, and I am just grinding out as many of the missions as I have unlocked, which is a fuckload of missions. So yeah, I'm just trying to do as much as I can in the game. I think I'm level 47 right now, so I'm leveling up like a motherfuck when I'm doing those missions. And even then, though, it's still tough.
It's kind of strange. I mean, I'm not that far in the game. Zach just fell into Eris's church.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't seem like a very open game. Do you know what I mean? It seems very linear, very contained.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
In that the way to explore or the way to level up is through the main menu, through missions. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Even though it is very linear, it still feels less linear than 13 to me.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason. Like maybe I'm just more accepting of it because it is a PSP game. It does look pretty damn good.
Yeah,
that takes up a lot of space, a lot of the system's capability. So I don't know. It hasn't really bothered me, but yeah, you're totally right. It is very hallway. I mean, there's optional areas you can run up to go grab a chest or whatever, but you know, that's the same as 13. It had that shit too.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't expect it to be so linear. I didn't expect it to be so contained like that. Not that I'm not complaining. I'm just making a observation, having never played this game before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fighting system is still weird to me, but I'm more used to it than I was last week.
Yeah, I think it's a fun battle system. I mean, it is a lot of mashing X, but when stuff gets tough, you have to do your dodge roll and whatever else. So it gets a little more interesting, I think.
Yeah, so
it's a nice
maybe like 2 more weeks on that.
Yeah, 2 more at the most.
This next week, Schweiss, I got to be honest, is going to be the busiest week of my life.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'll have any time to play any video game.
Well, it's a good thing we're doing
but the week after, I think it will actually be nice and like, I don't know. Like, it's possible.
So. All right. We can do 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks, maybe?
Give it a full month, as it were. Or no, a little more than a month, because we had 2 parts of After Years, and that's 1 week.
But we actually ended After Years on...
the day that we did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 week was last week. This is 2 weeks.
So it'll be 4 weeks, yeah. Okay, you're right.
Well, we're not taking that long for Dirge, so...
Well...
no matter what kind of shit you say.
I was delayed, as Gandalf would say.
Yeah.
I had my PSP. Let's talk about that. My PSP fucking died. And it didn't die in the normal, like, software fucked up or, like, zapped through the wall outlet or whatever. I simply took out Final Fantasy IV: The After Years and I put in Crisis Core. And as I booted up the PSP, suddenly it started making mechanical sounds, and I'm like, that doesn't sound good. But it showed that there was a game in there, so I went and clicked on the game.
Okay.
It loaded the menu, but it would not. When I pressed new game, it would not go anywhere, and it was just making like that was the sound that the PSP was making. I open up the disc, and I look. I pull out Crisis Core, and then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just Crisis Core. Maybe it's a fucked up disc. I put in Final Fantasy IV: The After Years, and it starts making that sound. It's like, I've been playing After Years for 5 weeks, right?
Yeah, quite a while, yeah.
And so there's no reason for it to, have any of these problems. But once again, it was making those noises, and I had to take out After Years, and I looked at... I looked around at the mechanics of the PSP, and I'm like, okay, there's nothing wrong here that I know of, because I don't know what it looks like normally, I guess, because it's not like I ever paid attention.
Yeah.
Then I looked at the back. I looked at the back of the discs, Crisis Core and Final Fantasy IV: After Years, and I noticed this little tiny black piece on the middle of the back of the After Years disc, and I'm like, what is that? And I started poking at it, and it's this little magnetic disc strip, and I'm like, this is probably a piece to the PSP that came off magnetically with the After Years disc.
Nice.
Which is insane. So somehow the way they get the disc to line up is that they have a little magnetic piece on the spinny disc thing, I guess. And when you put the disc in, it solidifies it. But what are you doing?
Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
It solidifies it, but I guess that piece came off. So I tried taking that piece and putting it into the spinny round thing. I wish I had I wish I had a word for it. The wheel. I put it back onto the PSP and it snapped right back on. I'm like, oh, okay, it must work right now. I tried Crisis Core again. It made less noise, but it still made noise, and it would not boot up the game. So there was a mechanical problem with the PSP, and I had to get a new PSP.
Damn. That's quite the sob story there.
It is the sob story, and I'll have to get a new PS2 for the Dirge of Cerberus game, so I'm not looking forward to that either. Now, PS2 broke over here while it was just sitting over here minding its own business. I came one day, and the PS2 wouldn't work. And
yeah. It was a piece of shit, and we'll have that on record, but yes.
Yeah, it had problems with PS1 games, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, Schweiss, shall we get to news?
Yeah, let's hit news.
News.
Oh, yeah.
So, this week, Shinru actually gave us quite a bit of news.
And we annexed most of it? Is that what it... As per the norm.
Well, look, if you look in news submission, there's tons of little pieces of Final Fantasy news. A lot of stuff from Record Keeper, a lot of stuff from World of Final Fantasy. They're just they're giving us little pieces at a time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a great resource to have on the site. It's just not something that we care to put on the show. Well,
here's the thing about that. If I had to talk about one character per week on what they put out for World of Final Fantasy, I would go mad. Now, if you're interested in that, under the news submission part of the forum, Shinru has gracefully given us tons of news.
Yeah, there's quite a bit on there.
But I'm thinking this is going to be a long episode, so let's
shorten it.
Yeah.
Douche. All right, so Final Fantasy Record Keeper celebrated 10 million downloads with some giveaways.
Oh, nice. So you can collect 5 Mithril as well as Celebration Grimoire. I have no idea what that means. Unique Soul Break for Tyro. Players can also enter a special draw to win between 5 and 100 Mithril with 30,000 prizes available. And that event
ran until March 7th.
Until March 7th, that's right. But, 10,000 downloads for Record Keeper, which is
10 million.
10 million, sorry.
Cool.
10,000 seems about right. 10 million downloads for Record Keeper, so that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, you like that.
What's wonderful about that is that there's a new Final Fantasy podcast in town that's all about Record Keeper, and they dethroned us today.
Yeah, they're like top of the line. I don't know if that's something new that iTunes is doing or not, but
yeah, when a brand new podcast comes out in a certain category, they let it.
That seems
they let it shine a bit.
That seems not what happened, but maybe it is. Maybe that's why we did well in the beginning.
Maybe.
I have no idea. I wasn't looking, so
I think we're doing much better than we did then.
But. Yeah, just a little bit, okay. But you know.
What else we got here, Schweiss?
All right, so we have a behind-the-scenes look at the music and sound design of Final Fantasy XIV.
Nice.
They've shared the first part of a new developer diary video series for 14, and in this chapter, we get to get a nice look into the music and sound production design of Heavensward.
Yeah.
It's like a 6-minute video with Soken talking about the difficulties of writing the MMORPG music and how he carried the dark story forward with the game's music.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Soken.
Yeah, I know. We'll hear a little bit more about him very soon.
Yeah. Oh, looks like we got some more 14 news. This is actually really cool. So they're releasing a new mentoring system that allows veteran players to help new ones out. So with patch 3.2, a novice chat will be introduced into the game so that new players who have played less than 40 hours can ask mentors questions. When a new player and a mentor form a party, they will receive bonus experience, and mentors may also join a special duty roulette that will specifically pair them with new players.
So there's going to be, you're going to have like bonus experience, like it said, and you're also going to have like special achievements for
they're unlocking a whole new level of achievements. Not that those really matter, but
I think this is a cool system, and they really need it for 11.
Yeah, it's 11 would be greatly benefited by this shit. So to apply to be a mentor, you have to have a level 60 job in each of the combat roles. So tank, healer, DPS. Which is a shitload. Complete more than 1,000 dungeons and have more than 300 commendations.
Jeez.
To be a crafting mentor, the player must be level 60 in both a gathering and crafting class and have created 100 collectibles and have collected over 300 collectibles. So for the 6 people out there that can do mentoring, enjoy. But no, I'm looking forward to that. I think we know
a couple from our playthrough.
I'm certain we do. I think I'm like level 40 white mage or something like that, so I could get up there.
Yeah.
My black mage isn't even up there, but, you know, I could get them both up there in due time. Oh, we have that 72-hour thing, the 14, where it's free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for previously paying players, so we could jump on there and just throw a few hours here and there.
Oh, yeah, just 72 hours here and there?
Yeah, 72 hours here and there, and get prepped for when we come back to it eventually.
Okay, that's cool. So this is a little off of the Final Fantasy news area.
You son of a bitch.
The people that, I thought this was cool news and shouldn't have put this up. The people that did Bravely Default, Silicon Studio, and Bravely Default was distributed by Square Enix, but I guess Silicon Studio is the company that made it. And Mistwalker, which is Hironobu Sakaguchi's company, they announced a joint development of a new title. We don't really know anything about it. They just announced that they're going to be working together. So in a way, Hironobu is distantly
making another
working with Square Enix.
Nice. the bad blood may be healing.
And here's our last piece of rumor news.
Yes. So there's a rumor out there that 15 is going to launch September 30th.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know where they're getting this information, but we'll find out the real date.
Well, they're saying the sources are reliable, and they also had, I think someone else was in a Twitch chat, and they were saying that they were right about the 7 thing being announced. And they're the people who...
There's a leak.
Pre-gamed it. Yeah, so there might be... These guys might be right. They might not. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean...
I'm sure it'll be around September 30th.
Well, we've got like 12 days until we find out from that Los Angeles event, which we're not going to go to, but we'll probably throw up a special little episode.
Why not?
Just like we're going to watch it, and you'll hear our reaction, or whatever. Do like a reaction vid. But mostly because I want to get the information out to our listeners ASAP, if they're not already listening, which is most likely the case that they are. So yeah,
all right, that's
we'll
fair.
see if that rumor becomes reality.
That's fair. Hey, so before we get to our spotlight on Soken,
yes,
I do want to announce that I will be taking probably about a month off from the show, but don't worry. What we're going to do is pre-record a gigantic spotlight on Hironobu, or not Hironobu, but on Nobuo Uematsu. And it's going to be a lot like our spotlight today. So today is kind of a
test run.
A test run on a new type of spotlight that we're going to be doing for Final Fantasy music composers. And so, I hope you enjoy it because there might be like 2 or 3 of them that are going to be going on during the month of May and June. So,
right. And for those Twitch viewers, you guys aren't going to hear the true experience. It's something that you need to download. We're going to put music in and it's going to be really cool, but Twitch will rock us if we do that over there. So yeah, that's why it's lame on that end.
But it doesn't matter. I'll be gone, but there will still be episodes every week.
Yes, we will have content for you guys to enjoy. So,
all right. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about Soken.
Yes.
Look, it's hard to follow up after a huge success. To every first generation of Saturday Night Live hosts, there's always a second generation. Like Irvin Kershner after George Lucas, like Jason Newsted after Cliff Burton.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like Andrew Johnson after Abraham Lincoln, and like Commodus after Marcus Aurelius. And I am a dick by putting that line in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am a big-headed piece of shit. All right. Some, like Kershner, rise to meet the challenge. Others, like Andrew Johnson, do so terribly that their effect sours generations. Even more are just forgotten with time. For example, can you name the musical composer for Final Fantasy XII?
Nope.
How about 13?
Even more nope.
Okay, but you can name 1 through 11, right?
I think so.
Okay, yeah. You think,
well, not all of 11, but 2 pieces of 11.
Actually,
3
no,
tracks.
he did quite a bit of work. Nobuo Uematsu is who we're talking about, of course.
Well,
For
yeah.
most of us, these names probably don't pop so easily into our head. By the way, they are Hitoshi Sakimoto, Hayato Matsuo, Masaharu Iwata for FF12, and Masashi Hamazu for 13, by the way. And yes, I did have to look those up before doing this. So how can you possibly follow a legend like Nobuo Uematsu? With 12 main series Final Fantasy games composed primarily by him, with pieces like Theme of Love from Final Fantasy IV being taught to school children in Japan, and having the second highest selling video game single ever, Eyes on Me. Yes, I still hate it, although I won't deny the accomplishment on how huge, actually being able to sell a video game single is.
Yeah.
So how can someone possibly fill his shoes? You've heard the rumor. Is the next Uematsu here? Has the chosen one arrived? On that, who knows? But let's talk about him anyway. This is our special spotlight on Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn composer, Masayoshi Soken.
Masayoshi Soken was born on January 10th, 1975, in La Paz, Mexico. His father was a trumpet player in the NHK Symphony Orchestra for many years, as well as a professor at the Okinawa Prefectural University of Art. Why was his pregnant mother in Mexico at the time of Soken's birth? Who knows? Because he went straight from Mexico to Tokyo, Japan. There, he grew to love music, learn piano, learn the guitar, and get into the Tokyo University of Science, because those are related. Now, we've desperately been searching for what he got his degree in at University of Science. There are departments there in science, obviously engineering, innovation studies, chemical sciences, pharmaceutical sciences, management, fire science, math, technology, biology.
There really is a fire science.
That's weird.
Section of that school.
But as you heard, no music or sound design school. Students are required to take some liberal arts stuff, according to the website. We figured for fun, we'll list off their principles on liberal arts supplemented education.
Right, so this is how you educate yourself to become a Soken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Leaders in science and technology are required to remain motivated to tackle, in cooperation with like-minded people from different fields, cross-sectional and complex issues that transcend the borders of specialties while maintaining a foothold in science and technology. We believe that cultivating such ability and supporting outstanding specialized skills are the role of liberal God, I cannot say that for some reason. Liberal arts education. For this purpose, organizing a curriculum for liberal arts education should aim to cultivate the following types of ability. Ability to adopt a bird's-eye perspective of nature, people, and society. Ability to think logically and critically. Communication skills. Internationalism, which is the ability to understand different cultures, languages, ethnic groups, and international issues. And self-management ability.
Whatever it was that he learned from university, be it biology or his skill in internationalism, my favorite new word, he was able to get an interview at Square in 1998 to work in the sound department. I don't know what, his degree was in.
It was probably real easy to jump into the company at that time.
There wasn't a sound engineering school. There wasn't. I don't know what he got it in. Apparently, his enthusiasm for rock and roll is what got him the job, as well as his 6 skills on the guitar. So I'm wondering, did they make him play guitar when he was, in the interview? That's what it said.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the legend.
If that's what got him the job, then yeah, I would assume so.
And he put that guitar skill to work with his first video game soundtrack credit for the game, I'm sorry about this, Geki Kukan Pro Yakyu, which I think is baseball, at the end of the century. That's the full title. In 1999.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I know. The game features his punk rock music tracks, as well as some of his sound design. So let's take a listen to one of his first video game scores.
Soken would continue to work on sports games for Square until Square decided that they were done making them, probably for the fucking better, honestly. Can you imagine that? A turn-based sports game?
No,
Jesus.
it wasn't like that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
I've seen.
It's like blitzball with baseball, and you're like, oh my god, the venom pitch. What is this? Before that time, he would compose tracks for the games Nishi Beacon Pro Baseball Final League and the Soccer Simulator World Fantasista. Here is a bit of sound from that game.
最初の担架で運ばれていきます。やはり何かある。
Now, Soken stayed quiet after the sports team was dissolved at Square. My only assumption was that he was just lurking in sound design for various games and not given any more opportunities to compose any music until, or officially until 2005. There is some confusion regarding his credits, as Soken often went by pseudonyms during this time. It is believed that he co-created the piece Endless Love, Endless Road with other composers Masayoshi Hamazu and Tsuyoshi Sekito. God, these Japanese names. From a Final Fantasy X tribute album, kind of headed by Nobuo Uematsu, called Feel/Go Dream Yuna and Titus in 2001.
Oh, of course. That was a big hit.
Yeah. It's actually not that bad. I listened to quite a bit of it, and we're going to listen to a bit of it here soon. I don't see any proof of this anywhere, but if Wikipedia says it, by God, you know it's true. I think it deserves a bit of a listen, this Endless Love, Endless Road, don't you?
I guess. All right, so if you want more information on that album, it's supposed to be songs about Titus and Yuna. You can look up more if you want. The next piece that we know was the beginning jingle for the show Square Enix Music TV, where Square's video game composers would be interviewed and promote their music. On this front, in an attempt to promote himself, apparently he showed up at some kind of fan convention and fought some robots half naked for Square Enix players.
I don't know. That's what it says, man.
So perhaps this paid off because he got to compose one spoof soundtrack for Front Mission 5 called Blue Stream.
Sports bikes with Blue Stream. With hydraulic steel wheel push shouts and space-age shifters, you'll be the luckiest and fastest kid on your block. Blue Stream, because 2 wheels are better than 4.
And so with that, his return to composing was complete.
Yes.
Having not composed a game soundtrack in like 4 years. He would go on to do the entire soundtrack for the Square Nintendo. It's kind of a rare collaboration for the game Mario 3 on 3. And here's a little taste of that as well.
Now, as we can all see, a lot of this stuff gets more poppy in tone and far from anything you'd hear in, I don't know, Final Fantasy VI or any Final Fantasy. But I think that Soken was just going pretty much where he was told. Yeah. He contributed a remix for The Bouncer, Jesus, the main theme on that, and he worked on Square Enix's web-based game, Elebest, Game Brain, and Xenobuster. That sounds awesome. He was moving up the ladder. So in 2007, he got the opportunity to play second fiddle to Kenji Ito on the score of Dawn of Mana in 2007. Remember, that is the great year of 2007. Here's the biggest contribution to that game, his biggest contribution to that game, a track called Sanctuary. Let's sit back and relax to some Sanctuary.
Now that's more like it, am I right?
Oh, you're right.
Mr. Soken was still considered a mid-level composer in the company in 2007, yet his next two projects, Nameless Game in 2008, as well as like a Mario sports game, which we'll get to in a little bit. Nameless Game in 2008 would be a minor release on the DS, so he was kind of working on minor games at this point.
Okay.
A video game adaptation of The Ring.
Oh, that's
the theme
pleasant.
here I kind of want to show. The theme here I think shows that he can do more than pop, rock, and pretty piano pieces, of course. He can create something like truly epic. So let's take a listen to that.
The last major game he'd worked on before Final Fantasy XIV would be the game Mario Sports Mix in 2010. Let's play one of the pieces that showcases Soken's punk rock style the most from Mario Sports Mix.
So, at some point, he got hired on to do the sound direction for the 1.0 version of Final Fantasy XIV after this, which, by the way, sound direction, it includes like voice acting, the mix, the sound design of all the various little noises in the game.
Yeah.
And the mixing of the actual soundtrack itself. So it's a huge job. That's a massively important job in its own right. So he had basically moved up at the ladder, just not music composing so much. Although I think he did help Uematsu a little bit. So Nobuo Uematsu was making a one-off return to the series after going solo, and his shoes unfortunately would not be filled until 1.0's massive failure. During the 1.0 to 2.0 debacle, and you can listen to our FF14 review to learn all about that, Soken was given the double duty of directing the sound of both games at the same time. He said he was basically exhausted after that process. With no Uematsu, Soken had to fill in much of the soundtrack himself, eventually creating over 100 tracks for the new game, A Realm Reborn, and later creating another 60 tracks for the Heavensward expansion. So let's go through a few of his most popular tracks from FF14. We'll be putting up piano remixes and other remixes for these pieces, as I think that may be the best way to truly appreciate the musicality of Soken. Check the description for the links and check out the channels, by the way, so you can support those people who put out these remixes. For the true Soken audio, consult the game or buy the albums on iTunes or wherever. This first one is called Whalers and Water Wheels, and it's arranged by Matt Fuss. Enjoy.
Here's a pretty cool version of Leviathan from Husky by the Geek.
And we'll play one more by the Shanghai Philharmonic Orchestra. This one is called no known connection to the Star Wars that I know of. This one is called A New Hope.
All right, so for our closing statements on Masayoshi Soken, we'd like to say that we do think he has incredible potential as far as his future work is concerned. I mean, we saw this guy at the 14 Fan Fest almost 2 years ago.
Yeah,
he's super excited. He loves it. He, he loves to blast the sound. It was loud as fuck in that thing. But
yeah, you can actually find that online. But
yeah, he's got some crazy. His tracks, like his mixer thing is sick. There's like 50 million tracks on there, and he's like, oh yeah, you just move these around a little bit, and you get the track down, and then you got to move it and play with it forever. And the dude never sleeps. He lives in the studio. He literally does.
That sounds about right.
So yeah. So we do think he does have incredible potential for future work, and many FF14 players have gathered around his music in particular, praising it over Uematsu's work on the same game. Obviously, the jury is still out on that one, but we do sense great things from Soken in the future. Let us fade out with our favorite piece from Heaven's Word. This is Contention, a remix by Benjamin Anthony James. Well, that was just beautiful.
Yes.
Utterly. Oh God, I can't even speak.
Yes, you
Not
can.
coherently, at least.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming from you, come on.
Can we move on to questions?
Yeah, we can.
All right.
Fuck. Yes.
All right, so we got a straggler question from our FF4 review, I think.
Oh, shit.
And we might have answered this, but why not answer it again?
All right.
Hey, guys, what character do you think changed the most? That was in FF4. That's also in After Years.
This is really 511. I'm going to start out by saying Rydia.
Rydia
Okay.
changed the
right
most?
there. We need the,
right, yeah,
the
I think
History Channel meme with
that's
that one
official.
guy with the crazy hair that like has his hands out in front of him and just like Rydia. I need that meme for that. Yeah, I think she changed quite a bit. Her character didn't change that much, but she is smoking in After Years.
Okay, well, Cecil changed in his own way, and I think Kane changed in his own way also. But you know what, Schweiss? That's a hilarious response to this, and I agree with you, and I think we should move on from this question, because part of me is thinking we might have answered this already.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah. But that is a good response.
I am high on cough medicine, so.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, so this one is titled Favorite Summon or Got an Idea for a New Summon. This is from Q Dizzy on the forums. I thought these would be fun questions for everyone to pitch in on and may make good questions for the show should you guys need some filler. Hey, at the end, it is a two-parter. One, of all the games, what is your favorite summon and why? I think we've already answered that.
We've answered this question before, but honestly, my answer is going to change every single time someone asks this question.
Yeah, it can. Well,
Today it's Ifrit. Today it is Ifrit.
All right, and two, what is your idea for a summon that hasn't been seen yet? Obviously, answers will be limited by the games that you've played, but summons are one of the things that make the series so great. Sorry if these have been asked before, been stumbling around the forums for a bit and haven't seen either one. It was on the old forums, so you're good. His favorite summon would probably be Odin in his many forms, even though Ixion and Valifer from 10 are some of the most badass skins. I didn't really have a new summon in mind when making this, but I don't know. I think there should be more golem-like summons, like a water golem that crashes into the enemies like a wave, or an earth golem that casts protective magic on the party.
Wait.
He does. That sounds like 5.
Yeah, it does sound like 5. Okay, I got one, and this is partly a joke answer. And as I'm on the squeaky table right now, which we need to replace soon, how about a wood monster of some kind?
Yeah.
Yeah, like one made of wood. So
Well,
he'll be able to soak up water. He'll be really weak to fire.
so like when Leviathan comes up, you summon wood plank. And or Plank from Ed, Ed and Eddie, the little plank dude. And
So-
he just absorbs it all. It's
Yeah.
all huge.
There you go.
All right.
He absorbs it all and eventually kind of withers away, but he takes all water damage. There you go.
Nice.
That's kind of dumb. I don't know. Like the sandbag monster, the sandbag summon.
Yeah, they summon it when
Sandbagamus.
when the town is going to flood from an an earthquake that caused a tsunami. They just sandbagicus.
I don't know, dude. Do you have any ideas for summons? It's tough, isn't it? Because they covered the elementals pretty well.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be cool if they made Gilgamesh a summon. I mean, I know Odin just trashes him, but no, there's that one time where Gilgamesh. No, you know what? I think it'd be sweet to have him like as not necessarily a summon, but as essentially a summon, because he's not a creature, he's a dude. But if you could call on Gilgamesh and have him come in with his, swords of legend and just trash, do like a ton of physical damage really quick and some flurry of blades and then disappear for a little while.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think it'd be awesome. Have you gotten Odin in Crisis Core yet?
No.
It's amazing. It's such a cool animation. Yeah, he's like up on this mountain and he just like comes down and it's just so epic. And then he cuts everything in half as always. But yeah, no, you know what? I think Odin is getting up there for me as far as favorites go.
Gilgamesh is an 8.
In 8?
Yeah, that's what Chocobo Chica said.
As a summon? I don't think so.
Well, I think Odin comes and cuts people in half.
No, Gilgamesh takes Odin out in 8. Remember?
Yeah, something happens.
I don't.
Right?
You know what? It might be GFS in 8. I can't remember, but fuck, that's really crappy.
It's been a while.
It has, but I do remember Odin getting trashed in 8 because I was always pissed at Odin for coming in and killing things when I'm trying to turn them into cards because I didn't want to level up. And whenever I would get the Odin random number generator, it would level me up like 6 times because he would come in and kill.
Are you ready for a correction on your no Gilgamesh summon?
I don't think I don't know if you get him though. Do you?
Honestly, I can't.
Tell me in the chat. Anyway, yeah, you know what? I think it'd be cool to have him as a staple at the very least, where you can have him in each game, because so many of the summons are element based, and you can't use them against everybody. But if you had one that was, pure physical attack all the time, that'd be cool. I think it'd be awesome to have him as like even more of a sidekicky kind of thing, not even true summon. But
I would like Final Fantasy to merge with Toho. And so that you could like summon Mothra.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and you can do some wind effect on your guys.
I could see that. What is your favorite summon right now was Ifrit?
My favorite summon my favorite summon of the day is Ifrit.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your favorite summon of the day?
I don't know. I might have to go with Odin for today because he's just really awesome in basically every game that he's in. Instant kill, and even in 10, he takes the form of Yojimbo with the Zansutskin or whatever the hell the fucking move is called. That is the cut in half move, kill everything, and yeah, I think he's awesome. He's very beneficial to have.
Okay. We're saying someone in the chat is saying he shows up as a pseudo Guardian Force in Final Fantasy VIII.
No, yeah, I remember that because it was Seifer. It was during that part where you fight Seifer near the end.
And Odin cuts him in half?
No, Odin gets cut in half.
Oh, Odin gets cut in half.
Yeah, by Gilgamesh, he gets trashed.
Jesus Christ!
But that's why I'm saying he's there.
What colorful thing?
He's there, but it's not. I don't know. It's not something that you have, so it's weird. I don't know.
All right.
It's odd. All right, so we have another question here. This one is from Crimson Command. It's titled Embarrassing/Weird Moments.
Okay.
Random question for you. Have you done anything weird/embarrassing while playing an FF game? For instance, when I would play FF12, I would sing the chorus from A New Level from Pantera every time one of my characters gained a new level. Since I leveled all of my characters fairly evenly, sometimes it would collide and I would start over in the middle of the chorus. My roommates through college, or his roommate, thought college was finally breaking him.
That's a fair assessment. I know what Schweiss has done that's kind of weird to me, but I have put clamps
on your nipples.
No, not on my nipples. Not yet. Maybe tonight. You want to do it? Hey, I've put clamps on my controller so that my characters would move around, and another clamp on the X button because I don't have a turbo controller. So it was
I remember that.
So it was kind of auto leveling on an island in FF7. So I think that's kind of a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah, or
super lazy.
Or yeah, that is pretty lazy. That's a little more ingenious than the FF4 thing. The game lets you do that. So with the summoner and the butterflies.
Yeah.
But something I did for a little while because I got so mad at After Years. As I told you, I splintered a piece of furniture of mine out of anger, and I decided that that's not healthy. I figured that maybe I shouldn't be doing stuff like that. So whenever I fucked up in Eco, when I was doing that review for Nude Clan, I would do 10 push-ups. It was horrible because I ended up doing like 200 in one day, But yeah, it was a good way to keep the stress down. I mean, the end of that game, we're talking like a 30-minute platformer portion where you're jumping, you're running, jumping, timing jumps, pulling yourself up, quickly grabbing shit, and it's very stressful. So to keep the rage quelled, I would do push-ups. Let's see what other people have said. Benjamin says, Pantera reference is most excellent. High five. I am not even kidding. He finds himself humming battle themes or the Chocobo theme all the time. Just walking around the grocery store, I'll have various battle themes in my head. I wouldn't call that embarrassing, I guess, since it isn't externalized for the world to see, but...
Does he have like a battle when he's trying to figure out if he wants the store brand?
Yeah, the store brand. He yeah.
Or the name brand.
Yeah, they have to fight each
Same
other.
ingredients.
Yeah, but he does bear it loud and proud. He just thinks about Final Fantasy more than the average person.
There you
go. When Shinra beats a really hard FF boss, and it's almost only because he got lucky, he punches his fist into the air and says, yeah.
Oh, I've done stuff like that where I'm like, yes, Final fucking Lee.
Yeah, that's one that you commonly shout out. Let's see. Q Dizzy says he does that all the time as well. With Benjamin's comment, he does hum the music, apparently. And his favorite themes. And he remembers one time in high school, some friends and him were filming a project for French class, and he started doing the 7 battle theme. And his friends said that we had to make a scene for it. So they lined up in the shot as if in an FF battle and took turns running towards each other and attacking while he sang the song.
Dun, 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 dun.
Really wishes he still had the video, but
So
unfortunately does not.
So do I. All right, Schweiss, we have a correction to get to.
Oh, jeez. All right, let's get to that. Shure SM58 microphones, $200. Adobe Audition software for mixing episodes, $30 a month. Libsyn hosting fees, $20 a month. A weekly FF podcast with great listeners, priceless. There are some things money can buy. For every other nitpicking motherfucker on the planet, there's the correction segment.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to read this one. I enjoy it. So, a few weeks ago, Joe insisted that the N64 did better than the PS1 in that console generation. So, worldwide for N64, 32.93 million. That's decent. That's solid. Worldwide for PS1, 102.49 million.
Okay, all right. A little bit more.
In my defense, I was not sure about it being correct, but you did shut me down with the confidence. I really didn't think it was, but I was like, we'll get a correction later if it's not. Was basically the mentality I had, and I was like, I was pretty sure it did, but N64 was awesome, and a lot of people did have it, so I was like, oh, fuck, maybe.
You know what? I didn't even think about looking it up, and I honestly should have. I should not have made that assumption simply based upon my childhood experience of seeing a whole bunch of N64s and not seeing a whole bunch of PlayStations.
Yeah.
And so, you know what? It was a dumb assumption. It wasn't part of my write-up for the episode. It was just part of our conversation, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, well, we didn't publish it at the very least. That's probably a nice thing for you.
Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why I didn't look that up before. Like, just going with my gut, which was a wrong judgment.
You think so?
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I was wrong. I did actually want to go back and edit the fucking episode so that it didn't have that little piece in there.
Yeah,
where I was way the fuck off.
I would have destroyed that though. I would have uploaded the original thing anyway. You come in and edit it, and I just keep the file safe, and then I keep replacing it.
God damn it!
The truth must be out.
I didn't want it because it taints when if someone wants to go through history of Square Enix Part 1 through whatever.
Yeah, that's
they're
true.
Gonna get to that episode and be like, "What?" if they know,
don't know what he's talking about.
If they don't know, I guess it doesn't hurt. But
yeah, but apparently, at least one person did know.
It's wrong.
So since it's been a little while, we do have a nice girthy collection of iTunes reviews, including one that I will enjoy thrashing very much. Okay. I think we should get into those.
All right.
iTunes reviews. iTunes reviews. Ah, it's beautiful.
All right, so these are just going to be the USA reviews. We might have more from other countries. We'll check them next time.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Because we got like 6 reviews or something here. So this first one, I believe, is this 4-star review. We might have done this one before, right? It's a great podcast. 4 stars by Shades of Silver. I have just found this podcast, and I'm working my way through from the beginning, though I've skipped around to listen to some ahead. I enjoy the hosts and their laid-back style. It's clear you guys have a lot of fun with this and clearly care about the games. I really enjoy the variety of topics, and I'm glad to find a podcast that does more than just news and give some spotlights to the older games. One thing I would like to suggest is perhaps adding some female perspective.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's what happens when you don't listen to the episodes in order.
Yeah.
We have addressed this many, many times. Maybe the occasional female guest. I'm not against that. Let's see, female guest. Or if you know a woman that is really into the series, I don't, perhaps adding a female co-host, which we can't find. 2 guys do a great job, but I feel like there are things you probably just don't notice in the games because you are not seeing it from the female perspective. Even if this is not possible, I will keep listening because yours is clearly the best Final Fantasy podcast out there.
Well, thank you. And yeah, as he said, there aren't any females around here that are really into the series, are willing to play all the spin-off games, and are willing to be on a fucking podcast. They just don't exist, as far as I know.
You might be able to check one of those boxes. Maybe
one,
even 2.
Possibly 2 for a few people.
You can't check that last one.
But like, I know girls at my work that are like, oh yeah, I love the series. I played, up to 9. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. That's enough. But they're like, oh, I'm not interested in doing a podcast. I'd be bad at it. I was like, well, you could at least try. I mean, it could be a fun thing. And they're like, no. She just doesn't want to fucking do it. And it's like, there aren't any, man. It's Utah, for God's sake. Like, I
don't know.
There's like 10 people anyways. And none of them want to do a podcast about Final Fantasy and are also female. So it is tough. It would be cool to have on, but it's just not something that we have the means to.
I do take some umbrage. Where's the sentence here? You guys are doing a great job, but I feel there are things you probably just don't notice in the games because you are not seeing it from the female perspective. So can I reword that to say, okay, let's say there's a podcast I listen to. It's like a history podcast. It's hosted by two women. So how uncool would it be if I put this on theirs? You girls do a great job, but I just feel like there are some things you probably just don't notice.
Because you don't have a wanker.
Because you are not seeing it from the male perspective. And that would be seen as sexist and stupid. But we are missing things because we don't have the female perspective. Come on, guys.
I don't know. I'm not going to say anything that's stupid, but I'm not sure what we would miss. Obviously, we are ignorant to that because we can't physically have the female perspective. I mean, Joe comes close, obviously, but
I got.
But as far as the full, you can't say anything else.
I got a vagina.
As far as the the third host, we just don't have the means. I mean, I would be totally fine with it. If they fit the bill, but the bill is it's tough to fill.
Audio equipment
audio equivalent of a limit break by Prime End 3051. Right. So I actually ended up subscribing during a 4-hour drive back home after going to a Final Fantasy Distant Worlds concert.
Lucky fuck.
I needed to quench my Final Fantasy thirst. I thirst for a FF podcast.
Hey now.
Checked this one out and immediately loved it. Great podcast. Amazingly in-depth analysis of the games, characters, backstory, music, history. Love the news updates, and the hosts are pretty funny and seem to enjoy what they do, which is vital. Side note, I noticed that you guys review the game's music often. Do you ever plan to review/rank the songs in their symphony orchestra forms? Danny.
Not rank.
We don't plan on it, but that would be kind of fun.
This is a special episode for that.
Yeah.
All right. This is from Douchezilla. Nice.
Awesome.
5 stars, titled Heart, Heart, Heart.
Well, it's actually, what is that? Less than 3, less than 3, less than 3. Let's be honest.
If you are even remotely interested in the Final Fantasy series and are wanting to familiarize yourself with the world, look no further than Ultima Final Fantasy. It is everything you'll ever need in this regard. My love of FF is eternal, but my ability to devote time to playing is sporadic. With the somewhat recent announcement of FF7 Remake, I decided to take another plunge into the world and go further than I had before. Reminded by how much I love Final Fantasy, I purchased some older games I had yet to play and got to work. Still not satisfied, I tracked down a way to keep up to date on the development of the series while enjoying what's already been made. This brought me to UFF. Joe and Caleb's devotion to the series and endless banter are what ensured this podcast has lasted. Can you get the rest of that? I'm losing my spot. All right. Not only is it great to expand my horizons on everything Final Fantasy, but the chemistry of this duo / friends is highly entertaining. I find myself constantly reminded of what it's like to spend time with old gaming buddies. They've developed an ever-growing community that's been very fun to participate in and listen to, acknowledge, and give time to their fans. They are constantly working to improve the already superb quality of the show, and most importantly, they are fair and honest with their portrayal of the series. I mean it when I say that this podcast has all you'll need for Final Fantasy related news and entertainment. Thank you, Joe and Caleb, for taking time out of your lives each and every week. You're welcome to provide this for so many people, though I realize it's probably just as fun for you guys as it is for listeners. I look forward to everything the future of the show has to offer and wish you both luck in this and your other ventures. Q Dizzy.
Awesome.
Thank you, Q Dizzy. I think that's my nomination for best iTunes review this year.
Okay. I got another one here from Kegs1223 titled A Great Final Fantasy Podcast, a 5-star review. I started listening to this podcast around the time when you were playing FF14. I listened through all of the podcast. Yes, I even made it through all of episode 1.
Yeah.
I wish I had found this podcast sooner so I could have played through the games with the hosts. Speaking of the hosts, I enjoy that they are brutal and don't play favorites. They have a good chemistry, and it is entertaining when they bicker with each other. I think it's great they are from Utah, as I myself am from Utah. I would love to meet the hosts and have a drink with them, even though Joe said he was done drinking.
Yes.
If you at all like anything in the Final Fantasy series, I would give them a listen. I am looking forward to playing 15 with them when it comes out. I've written enough. Keep up the good work, Joe and Caleb.
So I'm thinking maybe episode 100 we can invite, if any Utah listeners are around, just come on over.
All right, I'm going to read this next one because it shits me off to no end. Okay, this one's titled Kind of a Mess, ... 2-star review from Jordan Gaski.
Hold on. I got to get this going.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. The FF10 episode was good. I went on to listen to the FF7 episode. Definitely not as good. But you did get me thinking about the game in a few ways I never had. Then I listened to the FF12 episode, which was terribly disappointing. Not only are your voices painful to my ears, one of the hosts is incredibly immature and laughing throughout the entire podcast, treating the whole review like some sort of joke. You couldn't get the story explained in a manner that was understandable, and I think the hosts even admitted to not having played the game in several years. If you're going to do an in-depth podcast about a video game, it's probably best to pop it in and give it a go to refresh your memory. Not recommended. All right, fuck this guy, okay? You can go on YouTube and see hundreds of hours of me playing Final Fantasy XII over the fucking summer around the time when the review came out. And yeah, I understand there's part of this that's calling Craig out for his loud, squeaky laughing, but that's not the show. He's just an extra. So fuck you and fuck your review. And you know what? Before anyone gives me shit for trashing a listener review, this guy's not a listener because he doesn't know how to fucking listen! All right.
You're done.
Yeah, I'm done. Fuck that guy. Fuck you, Grensky or Gieski, whatever the fuck you are. All right, read the next one. I'm going to find this guy's other reviews.
Okay.
Fucker, man.
All right, awesome podcast. I hate iTunes. 5-star review. Thank you very much for doing work. I've been listening to this podcast for over a year now, and honestly, it's everything I've been looking for in a Final Fantasy podcast, from the awesome game reviews to the background of creators and someone's just Final Fantasy in general. If you are looking for a great Final Fantasy podcast, then look no further because you have found it. P.S. It took me far too long to figure out how to leave a review. Stupid Apple, or should I say, dumb Apple?
Yeah, dumb apples. That was a weird, looks like
this is a trolling motherfucker.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, he
loves Incubus.
Incubus and Foo Fighters have 5-star. Everything else is less.
All right, so watch out for Fireball's podcast, which I've listened to, and I like that podcast, by the way.
He says, bland and lame. Creating a podcast that's twice the length of the competition doesn't make it better. Unfortunately, one of the hosts shares a voice with a person from the Netflix series Making a Murderer, the whiny prosecutor guy. So it's hard to ignore that similarity. Also, simply not a fan of what you all had to say.
Yeah.
And then, fuck this guy.
What's the Only Through the Pain by Trapped? Well, it's fine to give Trapped a 1-star.
2 stars.
Oh, 2-star review.
Yeah, we're cool with the Trapped thing. That guy gets some cred back, but for the most part, fuck that trolling bastard. Listener my ass.
Okay. All right, Schweiss. I think that's going to be it for this episode. Let us know what in the Nobuo Uematsu episodes coming out in May, what tracks you find special.
Is that going to be a question from us to you?
In the Final Fantasy series. Let's make it a question for us to you. What tracks could you not live without from Nobuo Uematsu?
Yeah, this is going to be a big review. I mean, this is one that we've been talking about for a while. We want to give him the credit he deserves.
Yeah.
And have a nice, girthy conversation about his music. And it's going to be just like the Soken episode where, we talk, we got music going, we talk, we got music, we listen to a few tracks, we talk.
Definitely not something to listen to at 1.5 speed.
No, I mean...
I guess you can.
You can, but what the fuck?
Speed metal Uematsu.
Yeah.
All right, Schweiss. Well, I think that's going to be it for today.
All right. Well, as always, you guys can follow us at youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Tweet me at UFF Podcast.
Tweet me at Joseph Gaulier.
Like our page on Facebook, facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Give us a follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy. You can see me playing Crisis Core at the moment and enjoy the experience along with me.
Yeah, support us on Patreon, $1 a month gives you the episodes as soon as they're mixed, and ultimafinalfantasy.com is where you can join our forums and all that other stuff.
And until next time, you guys, enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGaulier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGaulier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.